Hello and welcome to the How to Hobby Podcast. I'm your host, John Power, and this is episode 161 of our show here, the How to Hobby Boys, bringing you joys once again on a Friday, best day of the week. And we welcome you here. Oh man, what an amazing time we've had coming through you over these 160 episodes, but another one here. And I'm joined behind the mahogany desk by my fearless microwavable buddy. Is that a microwave behind you? I've been wondering.
No, it's a new dehydrator. So I'm gonna start
Oh,
getting into dehydrating my own fruit snacks, jerkies, and stuff. I had a gift card to Bass Pro Shop, so when I went to pick up my rifle, I went ahead and bought the dehydrator. So now I'm working on getting it cleaned and set up so I can go ahead and start making my own dried snacks.
sweet. Yeah, okay. So my dehydrated friend, Sean Bennett, hopefully he stays more hydrated than his snacks in the future. But joining me behind the mahogany desk, great job, man. Have you even fired that thing up yet?
I fired it up. I made sure that it runs. And
Okay.
then I cleaned everything in there. It's a 10 tray dehydrator. Cleaned everything, got it set up, and I've been
Wow.
researching some recipes. And this weekend I'm gonna go actually pick up some stuff. I'm gonna start with fruit because it feels easier and safer to start there. And then I'm gonna work my way into actually crafting my own jerky and then making other stuff. So I'm really excited. I wanted a dehydrator for it's been a couple of years that I've been wanting one, but I couldn't justify spending the money on it. But when I had a gift card that covered pretty much the entire cost of it, I said, you know what? I'm just
Go
gonna do it.
figure.
It's time. It's finally time.
It just takes a little bit of gift card money, and then you are made in the shade there with the new dehydrator. That's super cool. I definitely have an interest as well with the backpacking world,
Hmm.
being so a part of my yearly events, but I have not pulled the trigger either. I think it. I don't even know. Are you doing the dehydrated meals anymore when you go out on trail?
I did. So when I went backpacking out in Descanso, maybe about 3 or 4 months ago, I don't remember exactly how long. It was, yeah,
Yeah.
maybe about 5 months ago. Uh, we did the dehydrated. We actually, because we were only going to be out for a couple of days, we splurged and actually got a bunch of different kinds of dehydrated foods so that we could experiment essentially. Because we're going to be backpacking in San Diego. It's really not that far from home. Why not? Let's splurge. Let's eat like kings. And so we got like 6 or 7 different flavors and brands and just tried them all and found that there were some that were really good and some that honestly were awful. And
Oh
I
yeah.
I, I took some notes and had a good time. But they're expensive. I mean, they're
That's what I'm
crazy
saying.
expensive. So I want to do my own, like I want to get into making my own dehydrated food for camping and things like that.
I I know it always blows my mind. One of my biggest travel hacks for backpacking has been finding the cold soaking method. So I
Hmm.
don't know. I think I've alluded to this at various times, but you just
Yep.
have a Talente jar or some resealable jar that you can rinse out, and then you just literally do couscous as a base, and you can
Hmm.
add meats and you can add sauces and you can. I think the ability to tailor it depending on your mood is
Yep.
pretty awesome. Because sometimes you get to the camp and it's like, oh, and then you're a big pro to it. I'm just gonna be real. I'm always the first one to eat because I don't have to boil the water,
Yep.
put it in the bag, wait 10, 15 minutes, however long. I just literally, before I even start setting up camp, which is always rule number one, you get your sleeping setup set up first, of course.
Yes, always, always.
Um, but I right before that, I'll already have my Ziploc bag and the Talente ready. And so I just drop that in there and then put the water in there. And then,
Hmm.
20 minutes later, it's good to go. I cut up some meat and throw it in there. Or again, I've been bringing a small squeeze bottle of a sauce that I'll bring
Hmm.
from home. It's just I don't know, man. There's something to it. You think that you wouldn't be able to give away the hot, but then I don't even really notice.
Hmm.
It's just yeah, it's just calories in. So
Yeah,
it's
I
just a
mean
very
It saves time and weight because the
Yeah.
annoying part, the fuel canister is so heavy. If you could get a smaller one, like if you just want to have it so you can boil water if you need it,
Yeah,
that would be nice, not having to have a giant jet boil with you every time you go backpacking.
that's what I do. And then I usually just finish it up with tea. So in the
Hmm.
end, I still have a hot water at the very end of the night,
Yep.
but I just have that water. And also it's cleaner too. That's the other thing
Hmm.
I didn't realize because I don't have to deal with that kind of the problem I run into is I honestly don't eat that amount of calories at one time, like in one meal, when
Yeah.
with of the whole because typically those bags of dehydrated food are 300, no, I think typically it's like 600 calories per serving, and there's usually two servings per
Hmm.
bag. And that's what always gets me is like if it was just 600 calories, I'd be like, sweet, that's right in the zone, but it's not. It's 1,200 calories, and I can never finish the bag. And then I'm like, well, what do I do with this food? Because you don't just want to. It's like if you don't eat it, where does it
Yeah,
go?
it's
In a
just wasted.
bag, it's just wasted, and then you're carrying it. So it's like a triple. Like, what am I doing? So it really, at the end of the day, for me, has not worked because you know my method. I'm more like eat all day long along the
Yep.
way, and then by the time I get to the end, it's like I don't have enough need for 1,200 calories and 50 grams of protein.
Yep.
So it's just different. And I've tested it out. I've tried. I don't like the 3 square meals on the trail. It's just uncomfortable. It doesn't feel as good. So anyway, well, good luck on your dehydrating.
Thank you.
We got a lot coming down the pipeline here, Sean. I can't believe it. We were just talking. It is almost September, and I don't
I know.
know what to even say about that, but you know what that means is football is right around the corner.
Yes, it
Uh,
is.
by the time next week is actually next Thursday is opening day. Is that not just
I feel
weird?
like it was just the end of the season. I feel like we just had Super Bowl, and where is this year going, man?
I
This is crazy.
Well, when you run a successful podcast, Sean, the year just flows like water.
It does.
It's Thank you, listeners, young and old, for supporting us this entire year. You make it happen. But Sean, yeah, walk me through what you kind of got into this last little bit of time we've been separated.
Yeah, I actually had a really, really good last maybe 4 or 5 days because I was on dog duty. And
Oh,
I love the two dogs I was asked to watch there. My best friends Tyler and Janice. They were going out to Texas for a wedding and they asked if I could watch their dogs. This is Milo and Lonnie. Lonnie is the little wiener dog that when they move to Korea, I'm going to get Lonnie. And so watching
oh,
them this
I didn't
weekend,
know that.
yeah, I was so excited to watch them. They're an absolute hoot to hang on the couch and just spend time cuddling. They're big cuddlers, love being pet. So it was just a good weekend of sitting in the air conditioning because it was a little warmer here in San Diego and just kind of chilling with the dogs. It was a really, really nice time getting out walking a little bit. So yeah, I was dog duty this last weekend.
Dog dutied up. I love it, man, with your good buddies. Man's best friend. My When we were traveling, I just returned from New York City, and there was a really, really, really cute golden retriever moment for my
Okay.
wife. She was walking on the streets of New York City, and we were just kind of taking a nice stroll down the streets like you typically do in the evening there. And there was a 2 pack of owners, two ladies with a golden retriever in tow, and the golden retriever was so cute. And as it passed by my wife, she was holding her water bottle in her left hand, and it nudged her water bottle,
Oh.
but very cute and cuddly like with his snout, and in his mouth was a bluey plush toy. And he looked up at
Oh.
her as he passed by, and I saw him as well, and I was just like, oof, that is precious. So that was kind of a fun dog moment we had. And we were actually even considering, like I said right there, then and there, I was like, that is the dog I've wanted since
Uh-huh.
I was a child. Golden Retriever, they're just perfect. In
They
my
are
mind, I don't
perfect.
think there's a better American dog. It's just it'll fit the bill, right? Because I'm a runner. Like I need somebody who's
Hmm.
going to keep up
Yep.
with my pace because I was out there doing some pacing this last weekend and uh shout out to my sister. She was keeping up. We did a nice run together, which was really fun. But I've been up in it. I've been going up into the I did two 4 mile runs while I was out there.
Wow.
And so I've been kind of trying to tick off more miles. I don't know what's going to happen here, Sean. You might see me trying another crazy race or something. But and then I have some news. I'm actually going to be doing, speaking of races, I'm going to be doing another bicycle race, the Tour de
Okay.
Tucson. But this one is it's a
Oh.
road race in November this year.
Oh. So not gravel bike this time, but
Not
just road
gravel
bike.
bike, just road bike.
Okay.
Going to Old Faithful. Call it Old Red. I have an Old
All
Red
red.
Specialized. That's what it's known as at my work. Everybody goes, "Oh, you brought Old Red today," and I'm like, "Yeah, more like the best red, not
Yeah.
old." Ah, anyway, no respect for the older frames. It's only like a 2012. That's not too bad.
That's not bad at all.
It's not bad at all. It's the rim brakes. See, once you like, I still run rim
That's
brakes.
that's old school right there. That is
That's it.
old school look as the rim brakes.
Yeah, people are like, "Oh, you don't have disc brakes." I'm like, "Dude, what is the difference, bro? What is the Please write in the comments below if there is a sincere difference in your mind. Give me the analysis that backs up the difference between rim brakes and disc brakes with some tried and true examples as well, just to back up the theory because, I'm like a big application guy.
Hmm.
I want to know. I want to hear your thoughts because I have not seen a big enough disparity to warrant me saying, "Oh, I really need a disc brake bike." It's like, what? As I shared last week, Sean, or last episode, I think it was last episode, rim brakes are like 250 for a replacement pad.
Which that blows my mind. That blows my mind on how cheap that is.
Well,
I,
it's just a really small, thin piece of rubber from
yeah.
Taiwan. It's like, I mean, of course, it can be like nothing, but it's a sleeper.
Yeah.
A full rim reinstall, that's metal. That's a different deal there. Hey, real quick before we move on, give me your top dehydrated meal from that trip. I just want to know since you said you took detailed notes.
So give me maybe 10 seconds. I need
Okay.
to go
All right.
find I took a picture of it.
Ding, ding, ding.
It was an Indian dish.
Do you
It was
remember the brand though? Was it Backpacker's Pantry?
so it was Trailtopia
Oh, okay.
and it
All
was
right.
curry ramen noodles.
Three ramen
It was
noodles.
really good, very simple. It was more of a I think it was around the like 400, 500 calorie mark per
Okay.
bag. So it was considered more of like a snack, I should say. But yeah, Trailtopia curry ramen
Oh,
noodles were
I see
absolutely
it.
delicious.
These are more reasonable. I'm looking up online. This one's only $5. And you're
That was
right.
why that was why we wanted to try it because we wanted to compare a normal, say, $25 one to a $5 or $10 one and see what they were both like. And this was the one, it knocked us out of the park. I was very, very impressed with how good it was.
That's great. You know what I will say about these dumb backpacking meals is when I just bring my cold soaking,
Hmm.
buddies run into the same problem that I have, which is I don't finish it. So I just walk around trying everybody, which is not like the best idea. Like, if I'm being honest, like you really have to know what you're getting into,
Yeah.
but just taking random spoonfuls of different people's meals. But, it did not do me dirty the last couple times I've done it. And I will say those, I think it's like Peak Fuel. They have this, it's like a breakfast. Or no, no,
Okay.
no, no. It's an actual dessert. And it's like a custard or like a pie.
Mm.
Oh, I gotta figure this out. Peak Refuel dessert. Mountain berry cobbler.
Oh
And
my
I
God.
am telling you, man, if you want to get like if you want to get so high off the sugar, I mean just like at the end where you're just twitching from the amount of sugar you've just ingested, get the mountain berry cobbler.
Okay.
Because that is really what it's all about when you're out there in the wilderness. It's like, yeah, I just walked whatever I walked. Yeah, 28 grams of sugar in one serving, and there's two. So you end up
Wow.
having that double whammy there, with that
Hmm.
56 grams. So anyway, it's like passing that around and just taking up like everybody takes a bite. I think I'm just gonna do that from here on out. Um, and I from here, Sean, we probably got to move on and digress. But I hope you listeners get to this is my hope that you get to experience a peak refuel berry cobbler with a bunch of buds at the end of a long day of backpacking, passing the bag. I'm telling you right now, if you haven't done it, you got to do it at least once. That's it, Sean. Let's move on to what we're going to be doing for the rest of the show. We're still in the thick of it, listeners. It's Q3. We've got a lot of things to do. Sean and I can't believe what time it is. It's already almost September. This is unbelievable. The year is falling away like water through our hands. And we're ready to keep moving down this path that we've set up for Q3, which has been when we're in the thick of it, how do we get through it? And so if you're new here, welcome to the How to Hobby Lounge. Come on in. We welcome everyone from around the world. We thank you for being here. And if you want to get to know us better, we do have a way you can do that. Our social media is at How to Hobby Podcast. We have a Gmail account that you can reach out to us directly, howtohobbypodcast@gmail.com. And we have been putting out all of our episodes on YouTube with some shorts along the way as well. So if you're enjoying the YouTube content, please make sure to drop a like and or subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's How to Hobby Podcast. And we just want to welcome you to the plushest seats in town because we got these things in the lounge. They are tailored to fit your bottom in the best way. All right. BBW, bottom best way here in the How to Hobby Lounge. And we are ready to open the door for more and more content for you throughout the rest of this year. But this one's going to be all about tackling travel stress. TTS, here to really bring you through because Sean and I have been through it all here. We've been through a lot, and we're going to share a lot of our stories throughout this episode that have really pushed us into this area of understanding, hey, traveling's great, but man, when you're in the thick of it and things start to really blow up around you in your life, it can be tough to get through. So that's what this is going to be all about. And Sean, I'm excited to kind of walk through these topics we devised. We're going to go through some of our trips so far we've had this year, some of the ups and downs regarding those trips. We're going to talk through how we distress our lives during travel. And this can be product based along with some mindsets that we'll kind of walk you through. And then we're going to finish with a fun one, which is why it's always worth it to pick travel in the end. We want you to leave encouraged. We want you to understand that as a hobby, traveling is one of the best ones you can do. So, with that, and without further ado, Sean, take us through some of your trips you've had this year.
Yeah, so this year is kind of my year of international trips. I was born in Japan but moved to the US when I was 4 years old. I had never left the US really other than a day trip to TJ. I just kind of stayed in traveling in the US. I mean, I traveled all over, but I hadn't really gone international. And this year has been my international year. So I did a 2 week trip in Europe. So I did the Netherlands and I did Germany for work. I did a day down in Tijuana to see a Toros baseball game, and then I'm spending 3 weeks in Japan in October going all over Japan, going from Osaka, Kyoto, Tokyo, Osawa, up where I was born, maybe going up to Hokkaido and seeing Sapporo, and just kind of traveling all over, getting a tattoo while I'm out there, just kind of having a lot of fun in Japan. So this is my international trip year. And I've been lucky enough that the trips so far haven't been too stressful, but they have like the planning hasn't been that stressful, but in the moment I've had some stress, especially with the foreign trips in the Netherlands and Germany because I didn't speak the languages. So I'll go through some stories from those of me and a train station struggling to get train tickets, realizing that the spelling of words was different in German. But Yeah, it's been a good year of travel. I think that the traveling to Europe, I'll actually just put it out there, and this was kind of a soul searching moment for me. And I was actually talking with my therapist about this. Going to Europe, being 9 hours ahead, which is my first time ever traveling that far ahead time zone wise, was a complete trip. And I struggled in the first maybe 5 or 6 days because I'm somebody that I don't mind doing things by myself, but I like to share those things with my family or friends. So, I may go off on an adventure, but I'll send pictures, send them to my parents. When I was in Europe, being that far ahead time zone wise, it was probably the most isolating feeling, most isolated I've ever felt in my life because I had nobody there with me. I was completely by myself on this trip. I was so far ahead in time zone that the majority of my day, it was the middle of night here home in San Diego. So nobody that I could talk to would be awake. So there was nobody, it was trippy. There was nobody in the world that was awake or that I knew that I could talk to. I could go talk to strangers, but when it came to somebody that I wanted to hop on a phone call or say, look at this cool thing I just did today, there was nobody in the world that was awake. And it
Wow.
was a very isolating feeling. And I'm glad I did it because I think it'll make my Japan trip a lot easier because I can go into it expecting that, where I'm ready for that feeling to come. And so that I can navigate ways around it. I can be okay with just sending pictures. I can send videos. I'm going with friends on this trip to Japan. So I'll have some other people there. But it was a complete trip to deal with that. And that did imbue a little bit of stress on it because I felt very alone. And when you're feeling alone, it really messes with your
Mm.
head. And then you're trying to enjoy this new city because you're in the Netherlands, you're in Amsterdam, and you should be exploring the city, but you're feeling kind of depressed a little bit because you're feeling really alone. It was a really trippy experience to go through as an adult to have that. I wish I had done this when I was younger. I didn't. So now I'm 30 and I'm going through this experience. But yeah, I'm hoping Japan doesn't doesn't feel like that. But it was a complete trip.
Wow. Yeah, no, that is interesting. You don't think about the isolation
Hmm.
associated with travel, but I agree with you, especially if you're doing a one-off. And I think this will apply a lot to people that do business travel often. You definitely can feel that sense of, even if it's in the States, I've had those moments of like, what do I do? And it puts you in this weird, because again, you're there for a job.
Yep.
And so that's fine. And you're meeting and executing with people around you that are coming for a unique, unified goal in support of the customer or in support of the company.
Yep.
But once you get outside of that, I think that's where the danger can be for your own mental well-being. And, I put a couple of things in place for myself, little rules I put in place to kind of keep myself safer when doing these trips, because I think it can be like this. You can spin a little bit out of control if you're not careful. And yeah, I definitely like staying engaged with a fitness routine when I'm doing these trips. That has helped me a ton with staying more stable. Um, and then just trying to, get some good quality food and get back to the room and just,
Yep.
recharge for the next day. And it's different than if you had sort of a unique experience where you built in a little bit of travel time for yourself personally
Yep.
outside of the working moments, which was really, I think, important. You were in Europe. But in most cases, if you're just going to a site office for the week, staying engaged with I'm here with the mindset that I'm here to perform for the company is should be the focus. Because
Yep.
again, outside of that, it can be a little bit of a slippery slope. You're in a new place, you could get yourself into some trouble of various kinds, right? You're just unfamiliar with your surroundings. So if you're out there at night, you don't really know what's going on. You don't know the area. You don't know where you're staying. Yeah, it could be a little bit scary or dangerous. But mostly I think it's mentally scary.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that you're highlighting here. Yeah, so I think for me being a homeowner, one of the things that started to happen here more and more commonly is And actually, for the last two trips I've taken, stuff is just broken around the house every single time. And when you're trying to execute on a goal, so this actually happened when I was in the thick of my 3 week, weekend straight marathon, is what I call it, I guess, at this point. But I did the rim to rim on a weekend, and then I did the 100-mile bike ride, the Century, the next weekend, and I did my race the weekend prior, I believe.
Hmm.
So it was like a threefold back to back to back, and yeah, I think it kind of was tough. And in the middle of it, when I was doing the rim to rim, our one of our pipes broke and burst in our house here as I was getting ready to go and leave. And so we had found her pretty much at the moment of me like leaving. And these are just moments where you just go, I know this trip is going to be fun and going to be a good thing, but I really don't want to have to be dealing with this right now. And
Yep.
because of the stress that invoked, it was, I'm going to be out of cell service. I'm not going to be able to work through this. I'm not going to be able to be in touch with the situation. I'm just going to have to be going through what my wife is telling me or talking to the guy directly on the phone, which you lose a lot of control when you're doing any type of negotiation just through the phone. And so navigating this has been very interesting for me personally, Sean. And thankfully, that one, me and my wife came together, we made it work. And I was able to even navigate the losing reception woes
Mm.
because I was going to very rural areas. And so it was, oh, and I apologize. I misspoke. I did a big backpacking trip. So it was a backpacking trip, rim to rim, and then a century. The race was earlier in the year. Um, got to keep the facts straight here for the listeners. They're going to be fact checking me at the end of this. Like, John, come on, man. You raced in March. This was in June. Sorry, my mistake. So yeah, Sean, I don't know if you've dealt with any of that, like home-based drama that can kind of seep in when you're trying to go on a trip, but man, it is,
It's been a while because I don't own a home. So
yeah, that's,
home wise I don't really have many like that experience where something may go wrong in the home before I have to leave. I did run into a couple of years ago. I had planned this giant cross country road trip that I was doing for myself to go out to take some outdoor classes. And I was leaving, I think, on a Friday morning, and Tuesday night my car pops a check engine light and won't start. And so I end up having to scramble to get an appointment at the nearest Subaru dealership, try and get it looked at, get it squeezed in. I was like, I don't care what time, I don't care whatever. Like, I'm leaving for a road trip in 2 days and I need this fixed. It was almost like I don't care what it costs. I've put so much money and time into this trip that I cannot back out now. And luckily, it ended up being a relatively easy fix. But it was still that it was so stressful, and I was panicking, being like, oh my God, I'm leaving for a trip right now. I have to get this fixed. And of
yep.
course, the guy at Subaru doesn't care, right? He's just trying to fit him in. And it was a very, I had to force myself to calm down. I was getting a little heated on the phone because he was not really being very helpful. And I had to remember that for me, this is a panic moment. For him, it's just any other Tuesday. So it's not that big a deal for him. But yeah, I haven't had anything go wrong at home, but I have had things go wrong with my car right as I'm about to leave,
Ha-
or in a relationship. That's another big one. If you have some big blow up in your relationship
yeah.
right before you're about to go on a trip, that also is really bad because then you're only going to be focusing on that, not enjoying the trip.
Yeah, nobody wants to be going through those experiences. I feel like no matter what, there's something that can creep in, even if
Yeah.
it's you not owning a home. Um, the so I'm going to dive into my second one because I think this one's fresh, and I'm not going to lie, it was a little stressful, Sean. And I'm not, you know me, I'm not a very easily stressed person
Hmm.
naturally, which is great. But man, I was like, this is just getting crazy. So we go on this New York trip, and it's a weekend trip. So with the kiddos, we didn't bring them because kind of at this point, we've decided we're not going to bring them to New York until they get just a
Hmm.
little bit older. You know how it is. Like this is one of it's a great city, but it is everything is
Yeah.
just on display in that city, period.
Yep.
Like you don't get to say when and what happens. It's not a controlled setting. And so, yeah, we're still just waiting a little bit longer, but we left the kiddos at home. Thankfully, our parents were able to come and support us and watch the kids. But in classic Arizona function, it was going to be another hot weekend. So we're talking well over 110. And it's been relatively a mild. It's actually in the 90s today, Sean.
Hmm.
It's sub 100 today. So it's been a relatively mild year overall. And but of course, the weekend that they're coming, it's gonna be well over 110. So that was already kind of like, oh man, I feel bad. I don't want to subdue anybody to this type of heat and leave them with my children, but we had to do it. So that was like the first stressor. And the second was literally night one. So we travel all day on Friday, which when you go coast to coast, you know how it is.
Yep.
We got delayed. There was mechanical issues on one of the planes. We were traveling for 12 hours straight. We left Phoenix here at what would that have been? 11 or 12. Yeah, so it was a 12-hour day. We left the house here at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and did not get into where we were staying until 12:30 p.m.
My God.
So it was a
Or
12
12:30 a.m. the next.
sorry, yes,
Yeah.
12:30 a.m. the next day, not 24 hours.
Yeah.
And that was just so, finishing off the trip with or the day of travel with getting the bus, getting on the train. Of course I make a mistake. Uh on my first subway, I got cocky and I was like, oh, I know where I'm going. I'm leading the way. I'm like, babe, this is where it is. We go up to the Bronx. I'm like, okay, this is wrong. We got to get back on the train, go back downtown. Anyway, so it's like um, everything that goes on. But then it gets better, Sean. We wake up so I woke up like 8 a.m. East Coast time. So did not get a lot of sleep,
Yeah.
considering everything that had happened. And we go down to the coffee shop, which is great. Gets coffee. It's like, oh, you know how that is. That first cup, you're like, yes,
Yep.
it's just so nice. We're on vacation. Finally, we just get to be free. Because, like, that's kind of when you start to try and de stress. It's like, I'm going to do a few things for me, feel
Hmm.
good. And we get the call. Oh, is it normally 85 in the house? Like, no, that seems a little off. And sure enough, it's like something's wrong with the AC. I mean, the night that we are not there, like it was fine the night we were
No.
leaving or the night before we left. And then the night where but again, it was like still 115, so I'm just telling you in general like peak AC performance is not
Yeah.
taking place when it's like over 110.
Yeah.
So it's still a 25 even if it's 80 degrees inside, it's still a 25-degree difference to the outside air when it starts to cool down. I'm not talking like peak 110. I'm talking like
Yeah.
it starts to come down to like the 190s at night, and so you're like, okay, so 20 degrees, not too bad. Um, nope, AC has problems, and I'm like, oh. So they're walking. I'm literally enjoying. Well, I was enjoying my cup of coffee, and then it was like before I knew it, like I had just like my wife is talking on the phone and we're like on speaker and I'm just like hearing this and I'm just like getting more and more and
You're
before
just
I know
like
it like I had like thrown my coffee back and I'm like what's going on? Why is this happening? Because it's just broken. I mean, we've had this happen before where the air is not coming down. And I already knew. I was like, there's something wrong. We need more fluid, working fluid in something's out of balance.
yeah.
Period. This happened last summer. So I was already like, no, this can't be happening again. Sure enough, get a buddy to go out there. Thank goodness for friends, man. I'm telling you. There is not a there's no way I would have been able to get this worked out from where I was without a buddy. It would have been the same thing you were just describing. I would have been calling an AC shop. They would have said, "We're closed. It's Saturday." Because this was
Yep.
Saturday. So there would have been it would have been, "Okay, well you guys are out." Like you're
Or they're going to charge you an arm and a leg for someone to come out on specialty time. Because that happened to my grandparents in Arkansas. It was a huge heat wave. It was over 110. It was like 115. They had scheduled a family get together. So aunts and uncles and cousins were coming from all over the state of Arkansas. And then my grandparents' AC goes out that morning. And so they paid an arm and a leg to pay somebody to come out and replace the AC unit. It was so expensive. They were glad they did it, but it was just another thing on top of the stress of that thing that they didn't need.
yeah. And for this one, I think that's a good point you bring up. When family's involved, you'll do anything. And
Yep.
that's how I felt. It was like, oh my gosh, I'm so like, not only are my parents having to suffer, my kids are having to suffer through this. So it's just like, it just changes the whole thing. I felt terrible all day, right? And it's the night of the show. I'm going out there to see my brother perform. He's visiting from Hong Kong on a tour. And it's like, it just puts this kind of casts this pall over the whole thing. You're like, why does this happen? Anyway, we executed, we got it done. But I think that was one of the takeaways was actually having to reflect on the shame I was feeling inside. Because it was
Yep.
like, I really feel like our house, like I feel like I'm a pretty good homeowner. It was like you're having those type of thoughts. And so in the end, I think definitely don't chug coffee when you're like when
Already peak stress.
but when the stress is starting to build, because I remember like coming down from that, I was like, oh my gosh, that was like the worst way. It was a great way to start it. Like immediately, like I was outside, the sun was shining. I'm taking photos with my camera, just snapping photos and like sipping my coffee. And then how quickly it turned into like, oh wow, escalation. I'm now in the thick of it. And that was just all day until we made sure even at the end of the day I was like, is it working? Like we were still asking like, is did it get fixed? Do we
Hmm.
know what happened? So yeah, that was a recent one, Sean. I think it's just fresh, but we got through. And I think this is a good way to kind of segue into our next segment, which is what are some of the ways that help de-stress our lives during these travel moments? I know you're prepping for a trip coming up here, so maybe this is a good primer for you, and getting ready for your next big one,
Yeah.
going to Japan. But yeah, give me some of your top picks for products or mindsets that you really want to bring with you when you go on this next one.
Yeah, I'm gonna start with a mindset because it's one that changed on like it sounds dramatic, but it really changed my life maybe 5 or 6 years ago when I started adopting this mindset in when I travel and kind of just honestly when I'm in life. This is kind of how one of the things I try and do. But I call it's the quote, it's okay to miss the bus. And the mindset behind this is it's okay to make a mistake and miss the bus. There will be another one coming. So, like for example, just in everyday life, I cannot stand the people on the freeway who realize at the last minute, oh, I needed to exit here. And then they dangerously cut off six people as they cross 7 lanes to slam into the end of the runway for the off ramp and then just to get off the freeway. When there is literally an exit 1/4 mile up the road that you could have just safely gotten off and turned around. Or, living in the city, everything connects to everything else, right? You could have definitely gotten off at the next exit, use side streets to find your way back. We all have Google Maps on our phones or some sort of map navigation. There's no reason to panic when you're, oh my God, quote unquote, I'm going to miss the bus. This was
Yep.
important when I was in Europe because I didn't have a rental car the entire 2 weeks I was there. I was relying solely on buses and trains to
Oh,
get
cool.
from city to city to city. And they luckily run because PT over there is really, really good. They run constantly. But it when you have the stress of I have to hit this exact train or this exact bus and you're dragging your luggage and you're scrambling to get through the airport or through the train station and then something happens. You make a mistake, you get confused, you go to the wrong terminal, and all of a sudden you are now trying to run to terminal two, you are at terminal four, and you're watching your train take off. The mindset of just take a step, or just take a second, just stand there and just breathe, just relax a little bit, and remember that it's okay to miss the bus, that there will be another one. It's not the end of the world. It will be okay. If you're 15 minutes late to your end destination, really what happens? Nothing, right? Like that's a big thing for me in life in general is it's okay to miss the bus. And I think you had a kind of a tangent mindset that you like to use too.
Yeah, well, it's funny because I didn't realize we were going to say the same thing, but mine's kind of, it's in that same light where you aren't in control. And I think when you go through these moments where you're relying on somebody else, that you just said it right there. Like you are reliant on a bus service slash public transportation system. And ultimately, we like to think that airlines are on a different tier than public transportation, but I'm just going to say it right here and right now, Sean. Correct me if you don't agree that they are on the same level of service. They are trying to serve you in a time frame that's meaningful to you, but they are fraught with other inputs that have a potential to derail the journey,
Yep.
quite literally. So it could be even for a plane, right? It's we had some funny ones this time, Sean. It was we had a mechanical issue of some type that took an hour, and then another one which was just the the company itself didn't want to strand 30 people coming in from a late flight in the terminal. So they literally said, "Hey guys, we know we just boarded the A group, but there's 30 people about to come in. They're 30 minutes out. We're going to just hold on this boarding process and let them get in." And that was a first for me. I was like, what?
I've
Like,
never heard of that.
I have never heard of that. Normally they do not. But again, I guess they have like a threshold
Hmm.
for if it's like 30 people that are going to have to be, not going to make it, they'll make the call. Now, again, I don't know. This was a first for me, but again, it's like this idea that you think you're in control, that you're going to hit everything, and I've just pretty much said at this point, let it go.
Yeah.
When it comes to that period of time when you know you're going to be in the thick of it and in a travel oriented stage, just let it go, and it's okay to miss the bus. It's okay for the bus to break down. You still are going to get there in the end. It just may take longer than you thought would have been nice.
Yep. Yep. And it's never going to be the end of the world. We always sometimes get caught up in, oh my God, the world's ending. This is really bad. My day's completely ruined. And it's just that's not the case, right? Things happen, mistakes happen. Maintenance happens, you took a wrong turn and the bus leaves, whatever it is, it's okay to sometimes not not be worried about it. I even this morning it was interesting mindset. I got stuck at a red light trying to get out of my neighborhood. Something was wrong with the light. It was staying green way longer than it was supposed to for cross traffic. And I was waiting to turn left and I couldn't run the red. And I started getting really frustrated. And then I went, you know what? What if I had, instead of being frustrated, what if I had the mindset that, what if this is kind of a sign or something? What if this had gone green at a normal pace, I would have been down the road and someone would have come up and rear-ended me? Who knows, right? If I had been 30 seconds faster here, this whole thing could have happened. When I was in high school and I got in my car crash, if I had been 10 seconds faster, if the light had gone green 10 seconds sooner and I'd been able to make the left turn before the drunk driver hit me, I would have been completely fine. My life would have been completely different. But here I am 10 seconds waiting for the light to go red or waiting for the light to go green, and somebody rear ends me and totals my car. The tiniest things
Yeah.
can change stuff like that. And
Change
I
your
had
life.
it, okay, exactly completely changed the direction of the cars that I had and completely changed everything in my life of the journey that I had with vehicles. So I think that sometimes it's okay to miss the bus. Maybe it
Yep.
just wasn't meant to be, and that's okay. I think another really good thing to bring with you when you're traveling is some sort of de-stressing tool that works for you while you're also at home. So don't, I don't, recommend trying something new while you're on a trip. Stick with the
Yeah.
tried and true, the things that you know work for you. For me, I need a good book. That is a cure all for me at home. If I'm feeling stressed or overwhelmed, pick up a good book, sit on the couch and read it. So when I travel, I always bring a book with me because I could be having the most stressful day and I say, you know what? I'm going to go find a coffee shop. I'm going to pull up my book and I'm going to try and de-stress for a few minutes and just relax, or a new restaurant or whatever. So for me, tried and true book, but it could be anything else for somebody else. It could be make sure you always have headphones and you have movies or something downloaded to your phone because you may not have cell signal. If you have a movie downloaded to your phone, you're having a rough day, you just need to sit in your hotel room and just decompress for a few minutes, pull up a TV show, pull up a movie. So have those things ahead of time that you know for a fact work while you're at home. Bring those with you. Like it's really not as hard as people may think. It's just look at what do you de-stress on a Tuesday after work? Bring that with you when you travel to your on your trip, you know?
Man, this is working so perfectly because the two things I put on this list were exactly in that train of thought as well. I don't know, are we just like syncing up? We have like the neural link or something tonight, but yeah, for me, it's been my tried and true green water bottle. Sean, how many
Hmm.
times have I been at your house and you've seen me with this water bottle? I bring
Yep.
it everywhere. And the one that I've embodied actually recently, based on, I think, this input from somebody. I mean, I think it's kind of just anything that's really ingrained in your routine and also just gives you a bit of comfort in terms of it's the same can be
Hmm.
very, very huge in de-stressing your situation. And so I've been bringing my coffee cup that I drink from at work. It's a hydro flask. Both of my
Hmm.
reusable water bottles are a hydro flask. And something about just holding that cup, right? It's like this, it's a grounding point. And it sounds really dumb. I at this point now I know the power of it, but I never would have thought. Even my wife was cracking up at me. She's like, "Why'd you bring that?" Because my bottle, I have two side mesh pockets, and so I
Hmm.
put one bottle, my water bottle, in the one side, and then I have my coffee cup in the other. And I was bringing my bag down. Some guy actually helped me bring my backpack down from the carry overhead bin, and my little mini hydro flask. It's a 12-ounce coffee cup, thermal coffee cup, shot out and like almost hit somebody. I was like, "Oh my gosh, are you? I didn't hurt anybody, did I? I'm sorry about that." Because it like bang, like hit the
Uh,
seat and like fell down. And I was like, oh, didn't want to, but it was just like this funny moment. And having that water bottle and coffee cup, it just keeps me connected to something that is good in a
hmm.
lot of ways. One, staying hydrated, and I'm huge on that. And two, a nice morning cup. Now, again, that was kind of connected with my um, stress moment. But if I say I didn't have that, it could have been different. And I will say this, Sean, as I was carrying it around at various points, it just felt right. And so
Hmm.
that's where I know it sounds a little kooky, listeners. You may be thinking, like, what, Sean, John, why would I ever do this? Why do I need to have that good book? Or why do I need to have a cup or something that like I use consistently? Give it a try and then give us your feedback. That's what we would recommend here. And I think I'll finish one here, Sean, a product that has just changed my game in terms of efficiency. This has been something I've been toying with for the last year since my wife kind of spearheaded this idea for our family, but a great packing solution. So I've been in, and I've been in on the trying to find the right bag for the right
Hmm.
situation. So I just successfully ran the second trip with my REI Co-op 40-liter ruck pack, and so it's just a one bag solution, and I don't have to have a roller bag. And for New York, oh man, I'm
Yeah.
never going back to the roller bag. Just carry the backpack. And it worked out just fine. I have three packing cubes now. I've sourced the three that I use, and that is enough for me as a person, and they fit perfectly. I was able to split up the things that matter to me. I have one bag that's dedicated to shirts, shorts, and well, actually, typically, if I bring one pair of jeans, I just leave that outside of a packing cube. I just put
Hmm.
those in the bag because it's like that's just a big, robust,
Yeah.
blue jean. It's like not going anywhere. Um, but then I just put my shorts and my shirts in one, and then I had a kind of like undergarment one for socks and underwear, and then a third for workout gear. So this is my workout shorts, and shirts, and maybe an additional, I don't know, if you need like a little bit overbleed. But for me, that worked really well. And I've just been really pleasantly surprised with how much it de-stresses the experience of like knowing where stuff is. There's
Hmm.
no more clutter. It's just, oh, I know this bag because I packed it. And I never would have thought that would have unlocked more de-stressing abilities. So yeah, do you have any efficiency based products you use?
I don't really have any efficiency. It's actually funny you say the packing cubes because Tyler, when we're prepping for this Japan trip, highly recommended that I get some packing cubes, the Thule packing cubes. He said they're really high quality and he loves them. I actually have his Osprey backpack over in the corner that is, I think, a 40 or a 45 liter that he uses for most of his trips. And he's lending it to me to basically do a practice run. Can I hold all the clothes I need for the trip that I'm going to be out there? So I'm going to be kind of practice packing it because if so, I want to go get myself a nice back like that too because I hate roller bags. I hate my suitcase that I have. It's so bulky and hard to move, and it's only a two wheel. It's not the four wheel flat. So
Oh,
if I want to stop anywhere, I have to find somewhere to rest this bag against. It drives me crazy. So I'm going to try and get some sort of backpack to try and do Japan as well because it's going to be a lot of walking and it's going to be I'm going to imagine it'd be like New York. I don't really want a roller bag
yeah.
going around all these places. So
Very
I'm
compact there from what I've seen.
yes,
And
very
that's
compact
the key.
and when you are not really getting a rental car, you're planning to walking and take public transportation. It's a pain in the butt to have a roller bag because it takes up so much space. It's hard to lug it around. The sound of wheels on concrete drives me crazy. The click, 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 click as you're dragging it drives me absolutely nuts. I can't do it. So I think that one is something that I'm going to be doing. I think that when it comes to cities that are walkable, which most of the cities I've been traveling to are very walkable, I've been relying really heavily on the Google Maps walking tool using the walking directions. It's really cool now because not only do they have walking directions that are usually fairly accurate, if you're in a very unfamiliar area, say you're in Europe, you can't understand any of the street signs, Google Maps, and I'm a Samsung user, so I use Google Maps. They have a tool where you can actually VR the directions into the map itself. So let's say you're mapping and you need to go down the street and make a right. You can click into the walking mode, pull up your camera, and it'll use your camera to look at the street, and then it'll have arrows pointing like VR, like the
Oh,
arrows are sitting in the
wow.
middle of the
Oh,
sidewalk,
that's,
showing you where to walk, almost like Midnight Club back in the day when you're playing video games and you're doing a racing sim, and it would have the little arrows and you have to
yeah.
drive through. That's what it looks like. So you can walk through the city with your phone out, and it'll show you these arrows telling you where to go. It's a really, really cool feature. It was really helpful when I was in the Netherlands and Germany, and I know that it's going to be equally, if not more helpful in Japan to be able to walk through these cities. So that's a huge tip for me, and that really helps me de-stress because it takes the chaos out of finding your way to new places. Another travel tip I will say to find really good restaurants and coffee shops or whatever. If you're in a foreign country, I highly recommend you have the Google Translate app on your phone. And you can download language packages. You don't have to have Signal. I screwed that up when I was in Germany. You can download the packages ahead of time. And then I recommend, let's say you're looking for sushi spot you're in Japan. If you just go to Google and you look up sushi, it's going to find you all of the websites that cater towards English speakers that have the word SUSHI in their website. If you instead go to Google Translate, translate sushi into Japanese, copy the kanji, paste that into Google, now what you're going to find is if you were a Japanese person living there who is looking for a local sushi spot in their language, and then it'll find you the most authentic restaurants possible. And you can do the same thing with almost any other language. If you're traveling in a foreign country, Google that thing in their language and then look that up in Google Maps. You're going to find much better places rather than the places that cater to foreigners. we don't
Man,
really want to be catered to as foreigners. We want to go to the places. So that's a
I
little tip that I think everyone should do.
that's a great tip. Yeah, no, thanks for sharing those. Those are really good ones. I definitely agree. Google Maps, Google products in general, when it comes to traveling, they're just changing the game. So
Yep.
get to know them, listeners, and keep them in close at hand, and download it on your phone for better use. And good tip on the download the language package. I didn't think about that one.
Yep.
So with that, we're going to move out of how to de-stress. We hope you found some value there. We're going to move quickly through what and why it's always worthwhile to go travel. So I'll start here regarding my rim to rim trip. Going back to the one I kind of talked about in that 3 weekend stint I did earlier this year. Actually, not 2 weeks after I had completed the rim to rim, north rim to south rim trip hike, the North Rim caught fire and burned for the better part of 2 weeks. Kind of unmitigated, uncontrolled, because it's such a rural area, and sadly, a lot of the North Rim based historic uh, Grand Canyon stores and lodges were burned.
Mm.
Actually, I don't even know if there's a store. I think it's mainly a lodge, but it burned, and the it's just amazing to think that if I wouldn't have committed to that trip, and don't get me wrong, Sean, there were a lot of things that were telling us, why would you do this? It's the middle. It was late. It was getting late. It was June. Um, it was going to be over 100 in the canyon. At some point, honestly, I know you always check the weather. I stopped looking at the weather. I was just like, okay, it's going to be hot. That's what I said to myself. I said, it's going to be hot. So be prepared for hot,
Hmm.
not be prepared for a specific number, because that stuff just starts to eat at you
Yep.
and really stress you out. So yeah, I stopped looking. I just said, okay, it's gonna be hot. And then the other thing was the water. For they're doing a water main redo at the bottom, and you couldn't get over to the Bright Angel Trail.
Mm.
So you were gonna have to take the harder South Kaibab, which does not have water along the route. So that meant you were going to have to pack all the water from Phantom Ranch and only have that for the entirety of your ascent out of the canyon. So that was an extra final boss, that, again, my buddy were talking about it. He's like, dude, this is gonna be so intense. Are you sure we should do this? And I was like, yes, this is something we should do, and it's gonna be worthwhile in the end. And there's plenty of reasons that I rattled off even then of why it would be worthwhile, without knowing that the North Rim was going to burn. And it will not be the same for, like I said earlier, a decade or more. I mean, the whole thing is going to be in repair. And right now, you can't even go over there. So it's going to be a kibosh on anybody trying to do that for the next couple years at best. So that's really my final driver for just go and do the trip. And as much as stress may come along the way and inputs may try and influence you to pull the plug, it's never worth it to pull the plug on a trip. Sean, give me some of your moments that have really solidified this for you.
Yeah, I think that there were some moments when I was in Germany that really just spoke to me and kind of my soul. I think I connected in Germany a lot more than when I was in the Netherlands. There was just something about the culture, the people, the architecture in Germany that I don't know why it was. It's hard to explain, but it was the first time that I've been in a foreign city and felt like I could I could live here. Like not like oh it'd be nice to live here, but legitimately fully believe I could live here and I could thrive in this area. I loved going to it was mainly Cologne, Germany. I loved Cologne, Germany. But it was the getting the food there and being out of my comfort zone. And again, I talked about it with the Google Translate. I didn't know that you could download the packages offline. So when I went to my first restaurant in Germany, then the night I got there, there was no cell service. So I could not use Google Translate to translate the menu, and nothing was in English. It was in only German. So I had to completely wing it to decide what I wanted to drink and what I wanted to eat, having no idea what I was actually ordering. I just had to trust with blind faith. It turned out to be a delicious beer and a delicious pizza, but it was just that moment of I just have to let go and it's okay. And I'm just going to have to trust the process and I don't have to be super stressed about being in control and everything. And then
Mm.
standing in front of the cathedral in Cologne was one of the most humbling experiences. Just seeing this massive architecture and imagining the millions and millions of people that have stood in my same spot and looked at this architecture and also felt really small and like they're maybe the problems they're dealing with at home really aren't that bad when you realize how big the world is and how much wonder there is out there and things to experience. That is maybe my stressful meeting I have tomorrow is it's not the end of the world. It'll be okay. So there were
Mm.
just some things from that trip that I will forever carry with me into my life and future trips. But I will always recommend if you can afford it, get out, travel, see things, see the world because you will not ever be the same person that you were when you're left, and it'll be for the better.
Oh, I love that, Sean. Great way to end it. And you remember in the world building game, Ages of Empires, Wonder, when you built the Wonder, it was actually a cathedral.
Yep.
So great way to allude to that wonderful point in my history of playing that video game and thinking, wow, this is so cool. I'm shaping history. Man, there is so much wonder out there. So thanks for sharing that. Listeners, we hope you enjoyed this episode. This has been another one here, episode 161. We hope you enjoyed. We're here to stay. We bring out episodes every single week, 6 a.m. sharp on Friday, best day of the week. And we hope you've been enjoying how we've been walking through our Q3 focus, which is getting ahead when you're in the thick of it and being able to execute throughout. This has been another one kind of honing in on that theme, and we hope you've found value throughout the episode. But with that, please leave a like and or share the show with a friend that you think may find value here. That is what keeps the lights on here in the lounge, and we got a lot of neon. Until the next one, we hope you stay well, and we'll catch you at the How
How
to
to
Hobby
Hobby Podcast.
Podcast.